I want to talk to you about the single most important factor in achieving success: the ability to take action. It's a force that lies within each of us, often untapped, but once harnessed can propel us to extraordinary heights. Think about it. We all have dreams, goals, ambitions that set our hearts on fire. But how many of those remain just that, dreams? The difference between those who succeed and those who stagnate boils down to one thing: taking action. It's like setting sail on the highest seas. You can have the most magnificent ship, the finest crew, but if you never chart a course, if you never hoist the sails and let the winds fill them, you'll stay stuck at the dock going nowhere. Dreams don't work unless you do. I know. Taking action is easier said than done, right? We all have those moments where the easy choice is to procrastinate, to let the resistance and fear take over. I will start tomorrow, we tell ourselves, but tomorrow becomes next week, next month, next year, and those dreams slowly start to fade. Well, let me let you in on a secret. Tomorrow never comes. The only way to make progress is to take that first step today, because the hardest part is always just getting started. It's like trying to get a car rolling. The initial push requires every ounce of effort, but once you build up that momentum, it gets easier and easier. That's where the magic happens. That's where you tap into the incredible power of self-discipline. Self-discipline is the engine that drives all success. It's what gets you out of bed before the sun rises to work on your craft. It's the force that keeps you going when every fiber of your being is telling you to quit. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. Developing self-discipline is one of the hardest things you will ever do. It's a daily battle, a constant choice between what's easy and what's right. But let me tell you, it's a fight worth having. Because on the other side awaits a life of your own design. A life where you are the master of your fate, not the victim of circumstances. Imagine a world where everyone had perfect self-discipline, where people followed through on every promise, every commitment. The achievements, the transformations we could spark would be mind-blowing. Well, the secret is that that world starts with you. It begins the moment you decide to take control of your life, to make choices, not excuses. Real self-discipline isn't about restriction. It's about liberation. It's saying no to the things that drag you down and yes to the things that lift you up. It's keeping the promises you make to yourself, even when no one else is watching. Those small choices in the quietest moments, that's what defines you. And the rewards. Oh, the rewards are immense. The peace of mind from knowing you are in command of your actions. The pride of accomplishment that comes from doing what you set out to do. The unshakable confidence that blossoms when you prove to yourself, time and again, that you are capable of overcoming any challenge. That confidence becomes a light that shines in every corner of your life. It's an incredible force, a self-perpetuating cycle of growth and belief in your own power. But let's be real. Self-discipline is tough. It's a muscle that needs constant exercise. There will be times when it feels strained, when the temptation to give in is overpowering. But every time you fight through that, every time you stick to your commitments, you're building that muscle stronger and stronger. Think back to a time when you pushed yourself beyond what you thought possible. Maybe it was working late to hit a deadline, or passing on that dessert to stick to your diet. How did you feel afterwards? Exhausted, sure, but also exhilarated, empowered, unstoppable. That's the incredible high that comes from flexing your discipline muscle. It's addictive in the best possible way. Another key aspect is delaying gratification. So often, we want the quick hit, the easy pleasure of the moment. But real satisfaction, the kind that lasts, comes from putting in the hard work now for a bigger payoff down the road. When you can embrace that trade-off, you unlock a whole new level of potential. Of course, even with incredible discipline, there will be setbacks. We're human after all. The difference is how you respond to failure. Do you let it derail you completely? Or do you treat it as a stepping stone to something greater? Every obstacle is a chance to practice picking yourself up, dusting yourself off, and moving forward with more determination than before. Discipline affects more than just your actions. It shapes your entire identity. When you build the habit of following through, of doing what you say you will do, you start to embody that person. You become someone who takes action, who values growth, who strives for excellence in all aspects of life. It's a self-fulfilling cycle of the highest order. Now, let's talk about two of self-discipline's biggest nemesis: procrastination and laziness. These insidious forces will whisper their siren songs at every turn, luring you, of course, with sweet lies of later and someday. Well, let me be clear, later is a dream killer, and someday is a thief of potential. Procrastination and laziness are like quicksand. The deeper you sink into their grasp, the harder it becomes to escape. But you have the power to break free, starting now. The key is immediate, decisive action. It's the antidote to procrastination and the mortal enemy of laziness. Of course, taking that first step is always the hardest. That's why you need to start small. Break your big goals down into tiny, manageable pieces so small that it feels ridiculous not to do them. Trick your mind into action by making the task seem so simple, so effortless. That resistance has nowhere to take root. And laziness? That's often a symptom of a lack of purpose, of a why that's too small and weak to pull you forward. You need a why so powerful, so magnetic, that it shatters the inertia of inaction. Your why should be the blazing beacon that guides you through the darkest fogs of laziness and reminds you of what you're working towards. But it's not just about external goals. It's about respecting yourself. Every time you overcome procrastination, every time you take action over the path of least resistance, you build a little more self-respect. You remind yourself, my dreams are worth the effort. I am worth the effort. There's no greater feeling than looking in the mirror and knowing you kept a promise to yourself. That's the kind of self-worth that can move mountains, that reshapes lives. Your environment plays a huge role here too. Surround yourself with reminders of your why, with people who lift you up and inspire you to act, and create a space that encourages productivity and progress. That makes it easier to start and harder to quit, because the world around you shapes your actions whether you realize it or not. The power of routine cannot be overstated either. A solid, structured routining acts as a fortress against procrastination and laziness. When you have a clear schedule governing your days, you'll waste far less time and energy wondering what to do next. That frees up mental space for creativity, for momentum-building action. Sometimes procrastination stems from fear of failure, fear of success, fear of stepping out of that cozy comfort zone. Well, let me share another secret with you. The most successful people face their fears head-on. They look those fears in the eye and embrace them as signs that they're heading in the right direction towards growth. When you fall into the slipstream of procrastination and laziness, as we all do sometimes, don't wallow there. Acknowledge it, learn from it, and get back in motion with even more determination. Celebrate every tiny victory, every act of discipline. Those small wins create unstoppable momentum. That brings us to habits. Those little routines we practice day in and day out almost without thinking about them, seemingly insignificant on their own, but together, they have the power to rewrite the script of our lives. Good habits are the kindling that allows the fire of personal growth to not just spark but blaze. Habits are the threads that weave together the tapestry of who you are. Your habits determine whether that tapestry is a masterpiece to be admired or a tattered, unraveling mess. The highest achievers in every field aren't praised for their fleeting moments of action, but for their consistently excellent habits. Developing powerful habits starts with awareness. You have to become a keen observer of your own patterns, which ones are serving you and which ones are holding you back. That honest self-assessment is step one in any meaningful transformation. From there, start small. Too often we try to overhaul everything at once and it becomes unsustainable. Want to develop healthier habits? Start with a 10-minute daily walk, not a total lifestyle overhaul. Small wins give you momentum, and momentum builds over time into something unstoppable. Breaking old. Unproductive habits is just as important as building new ones. This is where that self-discipline we talked about comes into play. You have to make choices that align with your vision for yourself. Even when they aren't comfortable or convenient, growth and comfort are not compatible. You have to constantly be pushing past your limits. Consistency is key when it comes to habits. It's not what you do once in a while that shapes your life. It's what you practice day in, day out. Those little daily behaviors, good or bad, accumulate into the sum total of who you become. As you develop new habits, be patient, but be persistent. There will be days when you stumble and revert to old patterns. That's okay. What matters is that you get back on track and keep putting one foot in front of the other. Every time you do that, you strengthen the muscle of your commitment. Don't go it alone either. Surround yourself with people who model the habits you want to absorb. We're social creatures. heavily influenced by those closest to us. If your circles embody the focus and discipline you seek, you'll find it far easier to internalize those same qualities. But habits are more than just actions. They shape your character. Every positive habit you build reinforces an empowering identity for yourself. You become the kind of person who takes action, values discipline, and strives for their highest potential. That identity develops an energizing momentum of its own. Here's another powerful truth. Challenges are inevitable on this journey. No matter how disciplined and consistent you become, life will always find a way to test your mettle, to push you right to the edge of your limits. How you respond to those challenges will define the magnitude of your ultimate success. You can view challenges as obstacles to be avoided and feared, or you can look at them as opportune moments to flex your discipline muscle, as chances to learn to grow stronger and wiser and more resilient. The choice is yours. It's the greatest achievements throughout history, in science, art, business, you name it, were not born from comfort and ease. They were forged in the crucibles of challenge, hardship, and obstacles that force people to think differently, to become more than they were. Mindset is everything here. If you see a challenge through a lens of fear and doubt, it will remain an impassable barrier. But if you approach it with a growth mindset, with curiosity about what lessons it may hold, that same challenge transforms into an opportunity to elevate yourself. The most successful people are not those who somehow avoid challenges altogether. They are the ones who embrace those challenges head on, learn from them, and allow them to become stepping stones to higher levels of mastery and fulfillment. Is it difficult to maintain that eyes wide open, opportunistic perspective when challenges arise? Of course. It takes real courage, true grit, to step out of your comfort zone into those intense growth territories. But you know what? That's where the magic happens. That's where you experience the rewards that make all the struggle worthwhile. Navigating challenges also requires deep adaptability, the ability to be flexible in your thinking and approach when the terrain gets rocky, to analyze the situation, get creative, and find new paths forward is invaluable in these testing moments. No one achieves greatness alone either. When challenges rise before you, lean on your mentors, your community. Their wisdom and support just may provide the insight or jolt of encouragement. You need to transform that obstacle into a foothold for further success. Then, after meeting that challenge, take time to reflect on everything you learned from the experience. Reflection compounds your growth, helping you solidify those insights into habits and instincts that will make you even more formidable when the next hurdle emerges. At the end of the day, challenges are inevitable facts of life. How you choose to perceive them and respond to them defines your journey. Will they be insurmountable roadblocks that halt your progress? Or will they be opportunities to practice resilience, to build new capabilities, to reveal even more of your immense potential? The choice is yours, but I'll tell you, approaching challenges as opportunities is what will allow you to soar. You have within you a potent force. The power of self-discipline, the ability to choose right action every single day, to create momentum that will change your life's trajectory into one of progressive mastery. You have the tools, the strategies for coping with procrastination and laziness, for building empowering habits, for turning challenges into advantages. You've just got to make the choice to wield them with commitment and consistency. This is your moment to take that first step, to move beyond dreaming and wishing into doing and becoming. Your journey awaits, with all its inevitable ups and downs, twists and turns. But that's what makes it so worthwhile. It's in meeting and overcoming those tests that you will develop the strength, wisdom, and resilience to craft yourself into the person you most want to be. Will there be days when the path feels daunting and you want to retreat? Of course. No journey of growth and reinvention is easy or straightforward. But you have the power to persist, to reflect, realign, and rededicate yourself time and again to reaching those lofty dreams. So keep your eye on the horizon, focused on those aspirations. See them not just as distant fantasies, but as the concrete, attainable outcomes of your efforts. Every small step you take builds momentum, creating an unstoppable flow in their direction. Embrace this journey you're on with an open heart and fierce determination. Celebrate the small wins, learn from the stumbles, and always keep moving forward with relentless pursuit of your potential. You have everything you need: the motivation, the strategies, the strength of character. All that remains is to take that first step, and then the next, and the next after that. The path is yours to create through the power of disciplined action. So let's walk it together into an incredible future. You will forge with your courage and conceit. Hold on to that sense of purpose that brought you here today. Let it be the blazing fire that lights your way, even through the darkest tests and challenges. You've got this. You have the grit and commitment to overcome any obstacle that dares stand between you and your incredible potential. Remember, this is not the end, but the start of an amazing new chapter in your life's journey. One defined by audacious dreams chased down with disciplined action. Let these lessons be the wind that fills your sails and propels you ever faster towards the shores of your greatest ambitions. So walk forward from here with a heart full of courage and a mindset locked on execution. The world is waiting to see your unique brilliance contributed through the incredible things you will achieve. Everything you need to make it happen lies within you. Right here, right now. It's time to get after it. To shed all excuses and embrace the mindset of the doer. No more dreaming, no more waiting. Only committed action in pursuit of the life you were meant to create for yourself. That's what this moment is all about. The tendency to procrastinate and avoid taking action is one of the biggest roadblocks to achieving our dreams. It's so easy to come up with excuses, to let fear and doubt talk us out of making moves. But the hard truth is that nothing worthwhile is ever accomplished through inaction. Every great achievement, every massively successful venture, every inspiring life story, it started with someone mustering the courage to take that first step, despite the doubts and insecurities swirling around them. Procrastination and excuse-making are dream killers. They're plain and simple. The only way to overcome them is through relentless, disciplined action. I'm talking about developing a bias towards execution, where you train yourself to act first and deal with the fears and reservations second. It's about building the habit of pushing yourself to get skin in the game immediately, before the infinite list of reasons not to start can even formulate in your mind. This takes practice, of course. Our natural tendency is to want to feel ready, to have all our ducks in a row before we make a move. But here's the thing, you're never going to feel 100% ready. There will always be an excuse to put it off one more day. The path of least resistance will always seem easier in the moment. But that path leads nowhere, at least nowhere inspiring or meaningful or fulfilling. If you want to craft an extraordinary life, if you want to make your mark on this world, you have to fight against that innate tendency to avoid discomfort and tough it out through the hard parts. The good news is the more you practice taking action, even small actions at first, the more it becomes a self-reinforcing habit. Every time you force yourself to take a step, and no matter how small, it chips away at your brain's wiring for inaction. You prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you gave yourself credit for. Tiny wins build confidence and momentum. From there, it becomes easier to take bigger and bigger actions, to place bigger and bigger bets on yourself. You start seeking out opportunities to expand your comfort zone because you've experienced the incredible growth that comes from pushing through the pain period. But it all starts with a conscious decision to prioritize execution over avoidance, to see procrastination for the dream-killing force that it is, and actively fight against those instincts each and every day. It's about installing new mental prompts that say, if I have a goal, I take an active step towards it immediately, no exceptions, and then living by that rule, relentlessly. No more waiting for the perfect time or conditions. Those never arrive. You just have to pull the trigger and course correct along the way. A huge part of beating procrastination is understanding that fear and doubt will never fully go away. They're hardwired into our brains from an evolutionary standpoint. The key is learning to stop letting those feelings call the shots. Stop letting fear and doubt be the drivers in your life. When you feel that hesitation, that urge to pull back or put something off, recognize it for what it is. Just brain chemicals trying to keep you stuck in your comfort zone. Then stubbornly choose to act anyway. Take the next step, no matter how small or imperfect, in the face of those feelings. Starve the cycle of avoidance and feed the cycle of acting in accordance with your goals and dreams. Remind yourself that there's no such thing as the perfect time or opportunity. All the greats started before they were ready. There will never be a magical moment when all the stars align and the fear and doubt disappear. You simply have to accept that they'll be along for the ride and take action despite them. Feeling afraid and taking action aren't mutually exclusive. In fact, that feeling of fear is your signal that you're stepping into the types of growth experiences that will elevate you. Embrace it. Don't run from it. Let it be the force that sharpens your skills and forges your resolve. The path of avoidance and procrastination is an easy one, sure, but it's also a guaranteed path to a life of regret, of dormant potential, of living forever in the someday zone. Dreaming without making any moves towards turning those visions into reality. Only through committed, relentless action can you turn your dreams into substance. Only by consistently pushing through the fear and the doubt can you expand what's possible for your life. So install that bias towards execution. Make it your mantra. If I spot it, I got to approach and start it. No more delaying, no more putting it off until conditions are perfect. Conditions are never perfect. Warriors simply ready their mindset and take the hill, no matter how daunting it appears. Be that warrior for your own life's ambitions. Starve the cycle of avoidance and nurture the habits of immediate action and execution. It may feel uncomfortable at first, but I promise you, the growth, the confidence, the unexpected opportunities that emerge will make it all worthwhile. This is how dreams get upgraded from fantasy to reality. This is how you craft a truly extraordinary life journey filled with adventure and hard-earned successes. Start building that execution muscle, one committed step at a time. Before you know it, you'll be unstoppable. Thank you for sharing this time with me and for being open to these lessons and perspectives. I can't wait to see the amazing achievements and transformations you spark through your disciplined action. Here's to your success, to realizing your highest potential, and to sculpting an incredible life through the force of your committed effort. Are you ready? Then let's get after it. Take that first step and make this the start of an epic new journey filled with growth, fulfillment, and the fruits of disciplined labor. Your path awaits. It's time to start walking. Let's do this.
you.